Today, I'll be bringing you the ultimate guide to living in Westerville, Ohio. Westerville is something of a quintessential Midwestern American town, and it's actually one of Columbus's most beloved and most popular suburbs. The place is full of charm and has a rich history too, so I'll be talking about everything you need to know. You can look in the description or chapter markers on the play bar to skip ahead to any parts you're actually interested in. My name is Jenny Reitz, and I'm a realtor in Columbus area. I'm looking forward to giving you the complete rundown on this iconic town. The suburb of Westerville lies northeast of the city of Columbus. Several houses on the Underground Railroad were located in Westerville. There's a rich history there, and some are still standing to this day, including the house of abolitionist William Hanby, which is now a museum. During the era of Prohibition in the United States, the state of Ohio was actually a huge force in that movement, and Westerville was the absolute epicenter. The city used to be called the dry capital of the world, and it was also home to the headquarters of the Anti-Saloon League. To give you an idea of what the Anti-Saloon League was about, back in the 19th century, anytime someone tried to open a new saloon in town, they would take a bunch of gunpowder and literally blow up the new saloon because alcohol is so dangerous. We need to blow it up because that's safe. If you want to learn more about the wild history of the Anti-Saloon League, today you can visit their former headquarters actually in Westerville. The building is now a library with a dedicated museum attached. Westerville is no longer necessarily the dry capital of the world, but it actually did take a long time for our city to reintroduce alcohol, in fact, most of the 20th century. There are still some weird regulations both here and throughout the state of Ohio. Liquor stores don't actually exist. I've never seen one. Liquor is either sold at grocery stores or at a state-run drive-through. Speaking of driving, if you want to get to Westerville from Columbus or vice versa, the trip will only take you about 20 minutes by car. The suburb is fairly wide in east to west terms, so you can get there a couple of different ways. Interstate 71 takes you straight up to its western side, or you can take 670 to 270 and get dropped off more towards the middle. Being a nearby Columbus suburb, Westerville also benefits from being in an extremely central location. Ohio is in the middle of the Midwest, and Columbus is dead center in Ohio. Living in Westerville means you've pretty much got the same connections to other American cities that you get by living within the Columbus city limits. Of course, Westerville is geographically much smaller than Columbus at just 12 square miles. But within those 12 square miles, you don't get a local airport. The multiple airports are in Columbus. They're not far though. And John Glenn International, the big airport, is only about 10 to 15 miles away. Another thing you'll notice about Westerville on a map is this big body of water on the eastern side. It's called the Hoover Reservoir. It's not really a tourist attraction per se, but lots of locals go there to exercise in the Metro Park. You can boat, fish, take in the beautiful scenery. Bodies of water like that are not super common in central Ohio, so Westerville residents are really lucky to have this scenic reservoir pretty much in their backyard. And as for Westerville residents, as of 2019, the U.S. Census counted about 41,000 of them. That's no small number for a 12 square mile suburb, and it's a pretty big increase in the last 10 years or so. In 2010, just over 36,000 people lived in Westerville. The ensuing decade has seen a growth rate of roughly 18%. Westerville also has one of the largest school districts in the entire state, the 10th largest in fact. A lot of population growth corresponds with the general population growth that's been happening in Columbus. However, Westerville does have a few unique attractions that bring the workforce within its own city limits. Otterbein University is a major employer, so is J.P. Morgan Chase. There's plenty to do in Westerville besides working though. The library with the Anti-Saloon Museum inside it is a great place to start. There's also a really unique museum in the university called the Frank Museum of Art. This museum is all about non-Western art and artifacts. You'll find a huge collection of items from all over the world, places like New Guinea, Africa, and Japan. If you've had enough with museums, one place you'll definitely have to check out is Westerville's Uptown. Uptown is actually more like a downtown where most of the shops and local businesses are. Lots of brick and mortar, plenty of events like live music and art exhibits happen there. This is a really, really cute area. The classic look and feel of this area is probably why the TV show Glee decided to have the Dalton Academy Warblers be from Westerville, Ohio. It just has that absolute quintessential middle American vibe going. Being in the north of the Columbus metro area, you've also got easy access to parks. One of our favorite is Hanby Park and also Inniswood Gardens. I mentioned earlier, Hanby Park also connects to a trail that runs all the way from the Ohio River to Lake Erie, which called, fittingly enough, the Ohio to Erie Trail. Soaking in the outdoors in Westerville is really no different than soaking in the outdoors in Columbus or in Ohio in general. Lots of beautiful nature. But again, the weather's not for the faint of heart. If you're allergy prone, just expect to have issues. We've got all the seasons. We've got muggy summers, snowy winters, tornadoes every now and then. But Westerville really is a fantastic spot for nature lovers. Now, if you're exploring the outdoors after that, you happen to work up a pretty good appetite. Good news, food is serious business here. The Columbus area has been a destination for top-ranked chefs to open new restaurants for years. People take their food very seriously here, and restaurants are held to a very high standard by everyone who lives here. Westerville is absolutely no exception. Walk around Uptown for a bit and it'll be hard not to stumble into a bunch of different super high quality food options. Some of the top rated restaurants within Westerville city limits are Chef Rich's Kitchen and The Royce. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Keep in mind, Westerville is not far from Columbus either, so all of the seemingly endless gourmet food options you get in the city are very easily accessible for Westerville residents. Uptown is going to be the place to shop in Westerville too. Most of the boutique shops and local businesses are housed in this charming little area, but of course, these are hardly your only options. The Columbus area is actually a pretty serious fashion hub, and being in the northern part, you're especially close to the Tanger outlets. I struggle to even call these outlets really. They're pretty pricey, but the place is enormous, and if you like shopping, it's really a shopping paradise. Speaking of pricey, given the great location and undeniable charm of this suburb, it may not be a huge surprise to learn that Westerville itself is not a cheap place to live. Unlike most of the state of Ohio, Zillow estimated the median home value as of August 2021 to be even higher than the national average at about $378,000. And not only is this above the national average, it's actually way above the Columbus City average and miles above the Ohio average. In fact, it's roughly twice the Ohio average. Prices are just going up fast too, if you can believe it. Home values have increased between 15 and 16% in just the last year. There are relatively few listings. Rent is also higher here, averaging at about $1,100 a month. Though not many Westerville residents are renters. About 80% of the 41,000 people living there are homeowners. To some extent, the old saying is true. You get what you pay for. Westerville is charming, full of history, loaded with delicious food, full of places to explore, both indoors and out. It's got a reservoir. You get the idea. People want to live here, and there's no mystery why. I know a lot of people are interested in this area right now, so if you have further questions about Westerville or any other part of Metro Columbus, let me know. I'd love to help you get better acquainted with my great city and with what it's like to be in Columbus. Here's my number, so give me a call. I do hope this was valuable, and don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in more weekly videos I'll be making about the Columbus, Ohio area. Feel free to leave a comment with anything else you'd like me to talk about and cover, and I'll see you next time.